Let's get to discuss these matters some more. I'm being joined on the program by a former Speaker of the House of Representatives and one of the leaders of the new political group, the NCF National Conscience Front, Honorable Gali Naba. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Distinguished Honorable Naba, let's begin the conversation. I probably will get your views. A lot of Nigerians, eminent Nigerians, have been sharing their views on the issue of the SARS and the operations, the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Police across the world, even in the United States, you see a lot of misbehaviors on some of the bad eggs. We've been seeing this happening in Nigeria for some time now, where police will just flout the law. And in fact, some of them, you see them wear some clothes that you never believe that they are, except for the fact that they're having guns in their hands with the tag of the Nigerian police force. But how can we nip this in the bud beyond the summary suspension of the activities and banning them from road checks? What could be the solution into this mess that we find ourselves?
Well, thank you very much for having me on your program. Concerning the police, I believe that we have one of the best police service in the world. And it is a paradox that this service is behaving the way they are being said to behave. I am aware that police all over the world have been facing these kinds of problems. In the United States recently, there has been demonstrations in many states over police brutality, dating back to almost 4 months today. And I believe that what must be done in case of Nigeria is that the process for the recruitment of police personnel must be looked at with a view to rejuvenate it so that men of character are employed in that service. And there must be a reinvigorated system of training for the police. And right now, I'm aware that a lot of police men are very, very frustrated about the service, where particularly their welfare is concerned. I was speaking to a top police officer recently, and what he told me alarmed me, because he was training the police, the newly recruited policemen in the area of shooting. And he told me that most of them that came for the training had to use their own funds to come, and they had to be using their own funds to feed themselves, and things like that. And when they don't have the funds, it is the commanders that provide money for them to feed themselves. So there are many narratives like this within the police service. When you go to police stations to report a problem, you'll be asked to buy paper and pen. If you want to report a theft, you'll be asked to provide a vehicle that will pursue the perpetrators. All these kinds of things happened. So we need to look at the police holistically. There is a lot of frustration in the police. I'm not apologizing for the police, but we must understand the problems we are facing. Today, the police personnel are doing their best as far as I'm concerned. But also, you'll agree with me that the first thing that the policeman thinks of when you ask him to go and face criminals is what happens to him, because there is a potential death waiting for him. And what comes to his mind immediately is what happens to his family when or if he dies, and which is very common. Because I know that immediately servicemen die, the authorities now ask for their houses to be vacated by their families and things like that. So honestly, we must look at all of these problems, and the sooner we do it, the better. We have one of the best police service in the world. Even this banditry and other things, I'm sure the police have the potential to contain these problems. But for these frustrations, it is making it impossible for them to face these tasks squarely. So when we look at what some of them are perpetrating, we must also be compassionate enough to look at the problems they are facing. This is my view.
All right. So let's get into the matter of moving Nigeria forward after the 60 years. On a lighter note, if I may, for those who have said some of the past generation, those who were active in the last 60 years, have done a huge harm, some of them, to the nation, and we need to now start looking for the way to fix the next generation, the country for the next generation. So we're going to be talking about solution. Some are of the views that we do know our problems as a people. It's not as if we don't know. Your group, the NCF, had come forward to say Nigeria needs to be rescued. So let's talk about how this can happen. Pastor E.A. Adeboye has suggested that for Nigeria not to break up, we need to restructure. But the big question is, how? From your view, Honorable Naba, how do we fix this restructuring matter?
Well, restructuring means so many things to so many people. And a lot of people have accepted the fact of restructuring. But what do we restructure? How do we do the restructuring? I believe that we must come to a table and sit down and discuss and determine what do we restructure and how do we do this restructure. Most of the things one hears about restructuring are on the pages of newspapers or from the electronic media. There has not been any conscious effort to put people together to come out with the sort of restructuring that Nigeria requires. I accept that after 60 years, it is important for us to look at what happened in the 60 years with a view to adjust what needs to be adjusted. And I believe that there are many things that need to be adjusted in this country for us to be able to continue our journey confidently. A lot of people have lost confidence in the country. And a lot of people are saying so many things that they should not be saying. And these are as a result of frustrations. And these frustrations are multifold. So we need to be compassionate enough to come together and look at the problems, and whoever and wherever complaints come from, these complaints should be listened at with a view to adjusting so that everybody has a space in this country. This is my view about restructuring.
Stay with us, Honorable Naba. We'll get your closing thoughts on the way to go from here as we start yet another journey after the first 60 years. So we take a break, everyone. And when we come back, we'll take you to Ondo State, where crisis erupted in a clash. The police say they are investigating as we look forward to an interesting governorship election race in Ondo State. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, and welcome back to the program. Before I take you to Ondo State, where a lot of the political activities will happen in the coming days ahead of next weekend's governorship election, let's get the closing thoughts of former Speaker of the House of Representatives and one of the leaders of the new political group, the National Consultative Forum, NCF, Honorable Gali Naba. Let me get your closing view on this issue of getting Nigeria, moving Nigeria forward. You were in the National Assembly. The NCF had actually agitated for a new constitution for Nigeria. Legally speaking, where do we go from here? If you were the president of Nigeria, would you restructure Nigeria the way some people are asking that we need a new constitution, and how would you go about it?
Well, Nigeria, of course, has a constitution, and what is important is whenever the need arises for constitutional amendments to take care of potential areas of problems, then such amendments could be done by the National Assembly. However, there are lots of Nigerians who believe that the Constitution shall be jettisoned and a new Constitution that will be a product of the people of Nigeria must come into being, of course, with the active participation of the people of Nigeria. The current constitution, which I cited, was a product of the military. The military handed this constitution to us. It is not Nigerians that sat down and fashioned out this constitution. And what most people are saying is that there must be a new constitution based on referendum. People must participate. And I totally agree with this proposition that the people of Nigeria have a right to participate in drafting any document that will form the basis with which and within which they are governed. And that is the only way to bring about legitimacy to whatever constitutional arrangement we are going to have in future.
Okay.
We have just spoken about restructuring. And I believe that a lot of areas need restructure. For example, in the course of this program, I listened to Senator Okoromo talking about water resources. I don't see why, in the first place, the federal government had to acquire, for example, the river projects in this country and establish what is now known as river basins. These river basins now filled with bureaucracy. They don't work. I come from Kano State,
Honorable Naba.
and I know how this Jamara River Basin, which took the place of Kano River Project, is faring. It's not faring well. It has not achieved its purposes.
Right.
This
Honorable Naba, apologies, because of our time,
1976.
I needed to sincerely thank you for your thoughts on restructuring Nigeria and some of the what you have preferred as solution. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. Honorable Gali Naba, former Speaker of the House of Representatives there. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.